Hello, glad you could join me again today. Today we're going to talk about a man in the Old Testament named Korah, and his story is found in Numbers chapter 16. He's the guy who the earth swallowed up, him and his family and all his possessions. And why did that happen? Because he challenged the authority and leadership of Moses and Aaron. In the time frame that we're in, Israel has just found out that they're going to be spending 40 years wandering around the wilderness because of their disbelief about going into the Canaan land. And so Korah raises a group around him of 250 princes or noblemen from the children of Israel, and they claim that Moses and Aaron aren't adequate for the task. And their solution is to create more priests, and specifically themselves. Now, Korah and his group are Levites, but they are not of the priestly line. He's being very presumptuous here and not afraid to challenge God's man. And Moses takes this very seriously, and so does God. The Bible says it's no small thing. And God makes an example of Korah by the earth opening beneath him and swallowing him up. And sometimes that's all the story that we hear of Korah. But God was not finished there. He had some more things to say and to do in this chapter. Those 250 princes that followed Korah died by fire from the Lord. And the offering censers that they were using to make sacrifices wrongfully were reconstructed into broad plates for the altar, being a formal reminder to anyone who would challenge the office of the priest again. And Korah's influence continued as the people murmured yet against Moses and Aaron because of God's judgment on those princes. They didn't like the fact that these leaders had died. And God sent a plague through the nation of Israel that killed 14,700 people. And in the meantime, Moses and Aaron are quickly offering an atonement offering to stop the plague. So why this story today? Well, I don't think you're going to miss the point. Murmuring is a sin, and it's a despicable seed to sow into your life, or into the life of your family, or into your church, or even into a nation. Our attitude and our responses affect others. And while we mutter, spit, and splutter, there are people watching us and even learning from us, good things and bad. It's no small thing when we consider how we influence others and the responsibility that we have as children of God to live with a godly example. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1 tells us to walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you are called. Our vocation is not our job, it's not our ministry, it's our station in life, the position where God has placed us. And it could be anywhere. You could be a homeschooling mother. You could be a Sunday school teacher. You could be an office worker or even a retiree. But our spot in life, the place that we are in life, is the place from where we influence others and we form our reputation. And from there we live out Christ in our lives and into the lives of those around us. But if we grow discontent and greedy of attention or judgmental of others, like Korah, we may be tempted to use our position wrongfully. Korah led others to complain against authority. He was not afraid to stand against God's man, and the Bible says that even angels won't do that. Korah lacked a healthy fear of God. His murmuring led to a breakdown in the children of Israel, and no doubt it caused division and eventually great loss and grief for many. His mutter, spit, and splutter was no small thing. The Bible is not silent about our propensity to complaining and murmuring. We, like the children of Israel, complain too easily, too quickly. We get out of our place or discontent with our place and try to take things into our own hands, and the result can be catastrophic. In John chapter 6 and verse 43, Jesus said, "Murmur not among yourselves." He was talking to the disciples, and they didn't think he'd heard them. But you and I know that God hears everything, every thought of our heart. Nothing is hidden from God. 1 Corinthians 10:10 says, "Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed by the destroyer." Paul is reminding the Corinthians of Israel's history about complaining. And no doubt they knew the story of Korah very well. Jude 16 says, "These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouths speak great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage." And this tells us what a murmurer does as they draw people to themselves. But do you see what it leads to? Great swelling words, lust, and a desire for attention or power. It's no wonder that James says that the power of the tongue can be so destructive. Philippians 2:14 says, do all things without murmuring and disputing. That's one of our family verses around here and was on the fridge magnet for a long time. But it says, do all things. All things. We need to be on guard about our attitude and our self-importance when it comes to our words. Words that bring division or disputing, when we're sowing that into the lives of our family and our children, it's not a healthy thing. Psalm 34:13 says, keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Now that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Remember that little children's song, oh, be careful, little tongue, what you say, for the Father up above is looking down in love. So be careful, little tongue, what you say. It's a song we ought to sing to ourselves, and we definitely ought to teach to our children. Because this mutter, spit, and splutter is the sign of a prideful and discontent heart. Whether it's in us or it's in our children, it needs to be nipped at the bud. So what if murmuring is the habit of your life? What if you are unhappy with your vocation or your station in life? Well, you won't like the pill you must swallow. You'll want to spew it out. Because the cure for murmuring is humility and thankfulness. We need to get back into our place. James chapter 4 and verse 10 and 1 Peter 5:6 tell us the simple thing, to humble ourselves before God and wait on him. No murmuring, just trusting and patiently waiting. And then Psalm 34 verse 14 to 15 gives us a bit more instruction. It says, depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. So instead of gathering a group around you to hear you complain and mutter and spit and splutter, or lead them into the same sin, you need to stay away from that temptation. You need to seek peace and pursue it. Do something good and positive. Seek that path that will be the path of joy and have a purposeful pursuing of that course. Because God sees what you're doing. He hears what you're saying. He knows what you're thinking. And he will hear and answer if you will call upon him instead of calling on others to join you on your side. Remember that you are not God. You don't know the best course, and neither did Korah. But you can be his servant as you walk worthy, and especially as you guard your tongue and your attitude. Let me leave you with a portion and a little phrase that I posted on my fridge, another one many years ago, especially as my children were growing up. It's Psalm chapter 144, verses 11 through 15, and it reads, rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children whose mouths speak vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. That our sons may be plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace, that our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our streets, that our oxen may be strong to labor, that there be no breaking in or going out, that there be no complaining in our streets. I love that. No complaining in our streets. Happy is that people that is in such a case. Yea, happy is that people whose God is the Lord. No complaining in our streets. No mutter, spit and splutter in the streets of our homes today. And I pray that be that true for you. I'll see you next week.